The stars above Geneva twinkled with unusual intensity on the night everything changed. Dr. Elena Santos stood at her observatory window, her dark eyes fixed on an anomaly that shouldn't exist. The quantum telescope array had detected something approaching Earth at impossible speeds, something that defied every known law of physics. "Dr. Santos, you need to see this." Marcus Chen's voice cracked with excitement as he burst into her office. The young physicist's typically neat appearance was disheveled, his tablet shaking in his hands. "The object, it's decelerating. And it's massive." Elena had already devoted 3 months to studying this anomaly, but nothing had prepared her for what happened next. The massive object dropped out of faster-than-light travel right at the edge of Earth's solar system, revealing itself to be a vessel of clearly artificial design. First contact was no longer a theoretical exercise. It was happening. Within hours, the world's governments mobilized their crisis response teams. Elena found herself pulled into emergency meetings with the United Earth Defense Council, a body she hadn't even known existed until today. The vast underground facility beneath Geneva hummed with activity as military leaders and scientists gathered to face this unprecedented situation. "The vessel is broadcasting," announced General Sarah Hayes, her weathered face illuminated by holographic displays. "It's using basic radio waves, transmitting in multiple Earth languages." The message was simple: "We come in peace. We are the Axion Federation, and we wish to welcome humanity into the galactic community." Over the next few weeks, the Axion Federation presented themselves as benevolent mentors, eager to guide humanity into a new age of interstellar civilization. Their ambassador, a tall, ethereal being named Sixtel, charmed world leaders with promises of advanced technology and medical breakthroughs. But Elena couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. It started with small inconsistencies in the Axion stories about their civilization. Their technological development timeline didn't add up, and their explanations about faster-than-light travel contained subtle contradictions. Most concerning was their insistence on helping humanity develop along approved technological paths. "They're lying to us," Elena declared during a private meeting with Marcus and Dr. Amara Okafor, the quantum computing specialist she brought into her confidence. "The question is, why?" Amara nodded, her fingers dancing across her quantum tablet. "I've been analyzing their technology signatures. They're deliberately showing us outdated systems, hiding their true capabilities." Marcus pulled up a holographic display showing energy readings from the Axion ships. "Look at these power fluctuations. They're running something massive in the background, something they don't want us to detect." Elena had already started documenting everything. The Axion's careful management of human technological development, their subtle discouragement of certain research directions, and their peculiar interest in Earth's deep space monitoring capabilities. They weren't mentors, they were handlers. But it was Dr. Okafor who made the breakthrough that changed everything. While analyzing quantum communications patterns, she discovered something extraordinary: ancient quantum entanglement signatures emanating from deep within Earth itself. These signatures matched no known human technology, yet they were responding to the Axion's presence. "Whatever this is," Amara explained, her voice hushed with awe, "it's been here longer than human civilization. And it's waking up." Elena led her small team in a covert investigation, careful to avoid drawing the Axion's attention. They discovered similar quantum signatures at various points around the globe, all seemingly connected to a vast network that predated recorded history. The truth began to emerge piece by piece. Hidden beneath Earth's surface was an ancient defensive system of unprecedented sophistication. Its quantum processors were orders of magnitude more advanced than anything humanity, or the Axions, possessed. The system appeared to be running some kind of assessment protocol, analyzing the Axion presence and comparing it against predetermined criteria. "Look at this," Marcus called out one night, his face illuminated by streams of decoded data. "These aren't just defense systems. They're markers. Whoever built them was leaving them for us to find, but only when we were ready." Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she studied the partial translations. The markers told a story of a civilization, possibly human ancestors, who had achieved technological heights far beyond anything in Earth's known history. They had hidden their legacy beneath the Earth, protecting it until humanity faced a specific type of threat. The action's true nature became clearer as Elena's team decoded more of the ancient data. They weren't the benevolent mentors they claimed to be, but rather part of a galactic system designed to identify and contain emerging civilizations that showed too much potential. They're scared of us, Elena realized, watching new data scroll across her screen. Not of what we are now, but of what we could become. The ancient defense system was more than just weapons. It was an inheritance, left by those who had faced similar challenges millennia ago. It contained technological secrets that could revolutionize human civilization overnight, but it would only activate under specific conditions. As Elena and her team worked to understand the full scope of this discovery, the actions began to show their hand. New restrictions on human space exploration were proposed under the guise of safety protocols. Research into quantum physics and artificial intelligence faced increasing oversight from Axion advisors. They're tightening the noose, General Hayes observed during a secure meeting with Elena's team. The question is, what do we do about it? The answer came from the ancient system itself. As Elena studied its protocols, she realized it wasn't just waiting to be activated. It was waiting to be understood. The civilization that created it hadn't left weapons for their descendants. They had left tools, knowledge, and a choice. We don't have to fight them, Elena explained to her assembled colleagues. At least, not in the way they expect. The system our ancestors left us. It's not just about defense. It's about proving ourselves worthy of our own legacy. As the first part of their story drew to a close, Elena and her team began to implement their plan. They would need to move carefully, gathering allies while avoiding Axion attention. The ancient defense system had shown them glimpses of humanity's true potential. Now they had to prove they deserved it. The game of cosmic chess had begun, and humanity's pieces were finally moving into position. The actions thought they were containing a primitive species, but they had unknowingly triggered a mechanism set in motion thousands of years ago. Humanity's true inheritance was about to be revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The quantum computer's display cast an eerie blue glow across Dr. Elena Santos's face as she studied the latest data stream from Earth's core. 3 months had passed since their discovery of the ancient defense system, and each new revelation left her more astounded than the last. The encryption's adaptive, Amara Okafor announced, her fingers flying across multiple holographic interfaces. It's not just responding to our attempts to decode it. It's testing us, making sure we understand each layer before revealing the next. The underground facility had grown quieter in recent weeks as the Axion Federation's influence expanded across Earth's scientific community. Their oversight committees had shut down dozens of research projects deemed potentially destabilizing to human development. But they hadn't found this place yet. A forgotten Cold War bunker repurposed by Elena's team for their covert research. Marcus Chen entered the room, his usual enthusiasm tempered by exhaustion. Another quantum physics lab shut down in Beijing. The actions are claiming it violated their safety protocols, but the research was basic particle physics. They're not even trying to hide their suppression anymore. Elena nodded grimly. The action's mask of benevolence was slipping, revealing glimpses of their true agenda. But their growing boldness had an unexpected benefit. It was accelerating the activation of the ancient defense system. Look at this, Elena called her team over. The quantum display showed a 3-dimensional map of Earth, with pulsing points of light scattered across every continent. These aren't just random installations. They're following a pattern, a deployment sequence that's been dormant for millennia. General Hayes arrived for their daily briefing, her military uniform now replaced by civilian clothes to avoid attention. The actions are pushing for a new treaty, she reported. They want oversight of all military installations worldwide. claiming it's to prevent potential conflicts as we join the galactic community. They're moving faster than we anticipated, Alina replied, pulling up a new data set. But so is Operation Legacy. The name had come from the ancient system itself, decoded from quantum signatures that predated human civilization. Operation Legacy wasn't just a defense protocol. It was a carefully orchestrated plan to ensure humanity's survival and independence against exactly this type of external threat. The team had discovered that Earth's core contained more than just defensive installations. Vast networks of nanofactories lay dormant beneath the planet's surface, ready to activate when specific conditions were met. Quantum processors more advanced than anything in known space were woven into the planet's magnetic field, running simulations and calculations beyond current human comprehension. The biotechnology data is incredible, Dr. James Kumar, their newest recruit, reported from his station. The geneticist had joined their team after noticing unusual patterns in human DNA, patterns that seemed to respond to the ancient system's activation. These aren't just machines we're dealing with. Whoever left this for us, they modified humanity itself. Alina had suspected as much. The ease with which certain humans could interface with the ancient technology couldn't be coincidence. Their ancestors hadn't just left behind tools. They had prepared humanity itself for this moment. The actions know something's happening, General Hayes warned. Their ships are moving into new orbital positions, establishing a tighter coverage pattern around Earth. But the actions were playing right into the ancient system's predictions. Each new restriction they imposed, each piece of human technology they suppressed, triggered new responses from Operation Legacy. The system wasn't just defending against their actions, it had anticipated them millennia ago. Alina's team made another breakthrough when they decoded a section of the quantum archive dealing with the actions themselves. They're not just one alien civilization, Alina explained to her assembled colleagues. They're a coalition of species, all dedicated to preventing the emergence of new advanced civilizations. They've done this before, hundreds of times. The archive showed the actions' standard procedure: identify promising species, make contact under the guise of mentorship, then gradually restrict their development until they became dependent on Axion technology and oversight. Species that resisted were isolated, or in extreme cases, eliminated entirely. But humanity's ancient guardians had prepared for this scenario. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, automated facilities began producing quantum-entangled materials that could bypass Axion detection systems. In the asteroid belt, dormant constructors awakened, beginning the assembly of technologies that defied current physical understanding. "We're approaching a critical threshold," Amara announced one evening, her eyes wide as she studied the latest system projections. "The quantum signatures are intensifying. Whatever Operation Legacy was designed to do, it's about to begin." The team worked tirelessly to understand the massive amount of data being revealed to them. The ancient system wasn't just giving them technology, it was teaching them, ensuring they comprehended the principles behind each advancement. This wasn't a simple weapons cache, it was an accelerated development program designed to help humanity leap forward thousands of years in a matter of months. But time was running out. The actions were becoming more aggressive in their restrictions, and their ships were beginning to probe deeper into Earth's atmosphere. They knew something was happening, even if they couldn't detect exactly what. "We need to make a decision," General Hayes stated during an emergency meeting. "The system is ready to proceed to its next phase, but it requires human authorization. Our ancestors left us the tools, but they're leaving the choice to us." Alina stood before the quantum display, watching the cascade of activation protocols awaiting their signal. The next phase would be irreversible, a full awakening of humanity's hidden legacy that would reveal their true capabilities to the galaxy. There would be no going back. "Our ancestors faced this same choice," Alina said quietly. "They could have used this technology themselves, but instead, they hid it away. They trusted us to know when the right moment had come." She looked at each member of her team, seeing the same determination in their eyes. I think that moment is now. As Elena initiated the authorization sequence, quantum signatures across the planet began to pulse in unison. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, ancient machinery hummed to life, preparing to unveil the full scope of humanity's inheritance. The actions thought they were containing a primitive species, but they were about to learn why humanity's ancestors had gone to such lengths to protect their legacy. The silent protocol was silent no more. The next phase of Operation Legacy had begun. The awakening began with a whisper. Across the globe, millions of humans experienced the same dream. Visions of advanced civilizations, of battles fought among the stars, of a choice made to protect Earth's future. Dr. Elena Santos wasn't surprised when the reports started flooding in. The ancient system had prepared humanity for this moment, encoded in their very DNA. The genetic memories are activating exactly as the archives predicted, Dr. Kumar reported, reviewing global medical data streams. The modifications our ancestors made to the human genome, they're not just allowing us to interface with the technology. They're giving us their knowledge. In their underground facility, Elena's team worked to coordinate the global awakening. The Axian Federation's ships still maintained their watchful orbit, unaware that their presence was the key that had unlocked humanity's dormant potential. Amara burst into the control room, her usual calm demeanor shaken with excitement. The quantum network just transmitted new data. You need to see this. She pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's solar system, but not as it currently existed. The visualization showed hundreds of massive structures hidden in dimensional pockets throughout the system. Shipyards, weapon platforms, research stations, all waiting to be reclaimed. Our ancestors didn't just leave us their knowledge, Elena breathed, studying the display. They left us their entire civilization. The revelations came faster now. The genetic memories awakening in the population weren't random. They were carefully curated packages of information, giving each person exactly the knowledge they needed. Engineers suddenly understood advanced propulsion systems. Physicists grasped concepts that unified quantum mechanics and gravity. Medical researchers found themselves understanding biotechnology thousands of years ahead of current science. But the actions weren't blind to these changes. Their ships began moving into aggressive formations, and their diplomatic tone shifted from advisory to demanding. The Axian High Council has issued an ultimatum, General Hayes announced during an emergency session. They're demanding we submit to full oversight of all human activities. They're claiming our unstable development threatens galactic peace. Elena studied the quantum archive's predictions of this moment. They're afraid, she explained. The archives show this is always their response when they lose control of a developing civilization. But our ancestors prepared for this too. Throughout the solar system, ancient facilities began their final activation sequence. Hidden quantum signatures pulsed through the dimensional barriers that had concealed them for millennia. The Axian ships detected the energy signatures too late. In high orbit, massive structures phased into normal space, orbital defense platforms that made the Axian fleet look primitive by comparison. From beneath the surface of Mars, automated shipyards activated, beginning production of vessels that could traverse space without conventional propulsion. The asteroid belt came alive with swarms of self-replicating constructors, ready to rebuild humanity's ancient infrastructure. They're targeting the defense platforms. Marcus called out as the Axian fleet opened fire. Their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against quantum shields that operated on principles their science couldn't comprehend. Elena watched the tactical display with calm determination. Initiate the containment protocol, she ordered. Throughout the system, the ancient defensive network responded. Quantum fields enveloped the Axian ships, not destroying them, but holding them in place, demonstrating power while showing restraint. The Axian commander's transmission was filled with a mixture of rage and fear. This is impossible. Your species is barely past primitive spaceflight. You cannot possess this level of technology. We've possessed it for thousands of years, Elena replied, the genetic memories of her ancestors flowing through her consciousness. We simply waited until we needed it. And you, Ambassador, prove that we needed it now. The truth of humanity's past emerged fully from the quantum archives. Earth hadn't always been a primitive world slowly developing technology. It had once been the heart of an advanced civilization that had foreseen the rise of controlling powers like the Axion Federation. Rather than fight an endless war, they had chosen to hide their legacy, burying their technology and encoding their knowledge into their descendants' DNA. They had known that eventually, a force like the Axions would find Earth and attempt to control humanity's development. The entire plan, Operation Legacy, had been designed to awaken only when such a threat emerged, ensuring humanity would face it with the full power of their inheritance. Dr. Kumar's genetic analysis revealed the final piece of the puzzle. The modifications aren't just in our DNA, he explained. They're evolving, becoming active as we need them. Our ancestors didn't just give us their technology, they gave us their ability to improve upon it. The Axion Federation's response was predictable. Their main fleet was already moving toward Earth, but the ancient defense system had anticipated this too. Throughout the galaxy, hidden quantum relays activated, creating a network that could transmit forces faster than any known form of travel. They thought they were containing a primitive species, Alina said, watching the tactical displays light up with newly awakened defense systems. Instead, they forced us to remember who we really are. In the orbit above Earth, the contained Axion ships watched helplessly as humanity's true face was revealed. The species they had dismissed as primitive now commanded technologies that made their own look ancient by comparison. But more importantly, humanity remembered why their ancestors had chosen this path. Send a message to the Axion High Council, Alina instructed, the combined knowledge of her ancestors flowing through her mind. Tell them humanity is ready to negotiate, not as a subject species, but as equals, and remind them that we chose peace once before. We're willing to choose it again. As the message was transmitted, more ancient facilities continued to activate across the solar system. Operation Legacy had served its purpose. Humanity had reclaimed its inheritance. Now came the harder task, proving they could use it wisely. The genetic memories showed Alina glimpses of the challenges ahead. The galaxy was larger and more complex than the Axions knew, filled with forces and powers they had never imagined. Humanity's ancestors had hidden their legacy not just from the Axions, but from something else, something that had caused them to take such drastic measures in the first place. That revelation would have to wait. For now, humanity had to secure its place among the stars and show that they could handle the power they had reclaimed. The Axion Federation was about to learn that attempting to control humanity hadn't just failed, it had awakened a sleeping giant. The Axion Federation's main fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system, exactly as the quantum archives had predicted. 5,000 ships strong, it was the largest military force they had ever assembled. Alina watched their approach on the holographic display, the genetic memories of her ancestors providing context for what was about to unfold. They're maintaining battle formation, Marcus reported from his station, his own awakened memories allowing him to analyze their tactics. Standard Axiom protocol. They'll try to overwhelm us with numbers. But humanity was no longer playing by the Axions rules. Throughout the solar system, the ancient defense network continued its transformation. Quantum fields rippled through space, reorganizing matter at the subatomic level. The very fabric of reality around Earth was being reinforced, prepared for what was coming. All installation crews report ready, Amara announced, her consciousness linked directly to the quantum network. The genetic modifications had given humanity perfect interfaces with their inherited technology. The Jupiter shipyards are online. Mars' defense grid is at full power. The Axion fleet's commander broadcast on all frequencies. This is your final warning. Submit to Axion authority or face immediate military response. Your stolen technology cannot save you. Alina smiled sadly. Even now, they didn't understand. Transmit response, she ordered. Through the quantum network, she could feel the readiness of humanity's awakened forces. The technology isn't stolen, Admiral. It's inherited, and we're about to show you why our ancestors were feared across the galaxy. The battle began with a demonstration. A single quantum pulse from Earth's defense grid passed through the Axion fleet. Their shields, designed to stop energy and matter, were useless against weapons that operated on fundamentally different principles. 5,000 ships suddenly found their weapon systems transformed into inert matter. "We could destroy your fleet," Elena transmitted, "but that's not our way. Never has been. Check your historical records, Admiral. Search for references to the Tyranny Accord." The response was immediate. Elena could almost feel the shock rippling through the Axion command as they accessed their oldest archives. The Tyranny Accord, a legend, a myth of the galaxy's ancient past. A civilization so advanced they could have dominated the galaxy, but instead chose to withdraw, leaving younger species to develop on their own. "Impossible," the Admiral responded. "The Terrans vanished 10,000 years ago. They..." He paused as the implications hit him. "They didn't vanish. They hidden themselves. Here, on Earth." "Not quite," Elena corrected. "They became us. And now we remember why." Through the quantum network, humanity shared their awakened memories with the Axion fleet. They showed them the truth, how the Terran civilization had foreseen multiple possible futures for the galaxy. In many of those futures, their continued presence led to devastating wars as younger species fought over their technology. So they had made a choice. Instead of maintaining their dominance, they had hidden their legacy within their own DNA, burying their technology beneath the Earth's surface. They had chosen to start over, to let their civilization be reborn when it was truly needed. The Axion Federation's attempt to control Earth hadn't just awakened humanity's inheritance, it had restored the galaxy's most advanced civilization. But the genetic memories revealed something else, something that made the Axion threat seem small by comparison. The true reason for the Terrans' choice lay in what they had discovered at the galaxy's edge. A threat so vast that direct confrontation would have been suicide. "We offer you a choice," Elena transmitted to the Axion fleet. "The same choice our ancestors faced. You can continue this fight, force us to demonstrate more of our capabilities, or you can join us in preparing for what's coming." Throughout the solar system, more of humanity's inheritance revealed itself. The asteroid belt transformed into a vast industrial complex. The gas giants' moons became research centers for technologies beyond even the Terrans' understanding. Earth itself pulsed with power as ancient terraforming systems awakened, beginning to restore the planet to its original glory. Dr. Kumar rushed into the control center, his face pale with new understanding. The genetic memories. They're not just technical knowledge. They're showing us why. What's out there in the dark between galaxies? What's been waiting? Elena nodded grimly. The quantum archives had begun revealing their final secrets, showing humanity the true scope of their inheritance. The Terran civilization hadn't just been advanced. They had been guardians, holding back forces that could devour entire galaxies. "Your species faces a choice," the Axion Admiral transmitted after a long silence. "With this power, you could dominate the galaxy, rule every civilization. Why show restraint?" "Because that's not who we are," Elena replied. "Not who we've ever been. The Terrans, our ancestors, could have ruled through force. Instead, they chose to guide, to protect. That's our true inheritance." Through the quantum network, Elena felt humanity's collective awakening reaching its peak. The genetic memories weren't just technical knowledge or historical records. They were a blueprint for something greater. The Terrans hadn't hidden their legacy to preserve their power. They had hidden it to ensure it would awaken at precisely the right moment, when the galaxy would need guardians once again. The threat the Terrans faced, Marcus said quietly, his own genetic memories unfolding. It's still out there, still coming. That's why they planned all this, why they waited until now. Elena studied the tactical displays, watching as the Axion fleet remained motionless, their weapons transformed to harmless matter. "Send a message to all Earth governments," she instructed. It's time humanity learned the full truth of our inheritance and what it means for our future. The quantum network pulsed with activity as humanity's ancient legacy continued to unfold. The Axian Federation had wanted to contain a primitive species, but instead they had helped awaken the galaxy's ancient guardians. Now humanity faced an even greater challenge, proving they were ready for the responsibility their ancestors had prepared them to bear. In orbit above Earth, the Axian fleet waited for humanity's next move. But Elena's thoughts were already turning to the darkness between galaxies, where ancient sensors had detected something stirring. The true test of humanity's inheritance was about to begin. The quantum sensors at the edge of the solar system registered the disturbance first. A ripple in space-time that shouldn't have been possible, even by Terran standards. Elena felt it through the quantum network, an echo of the threat that had caused her ancestors to hide their legacy in the first place. Multiple dimensional breaches detected, Amara reported. Her consciousness merged with the ancient defense systems. Something's coming through. Something big. The Axian fleet remained in position, their weapons still neutralized by quantum fields. Their admiral's voice cracked with tension as he transmitted. Our long-range sensors. We've never seen readings like these. What are we dealing with? Elena accessed the deepest layers of her genetic memories, finally understanding why the Terrans had chosen their elaborate plan. They're called the Void Hunters, she explained, the ancient knowledge flowing through her. They don't exist in our reality. They feed on entire galaxies, breaking down the fundamental forces that hold spacetime together. The holographic display showed the dimensional breaches expanding. Dark shapes moved within them, defying the laws of physics. The threat that had forced the mighty Terran civilization to hide was finally revealing itself. This is why our ancestors hid their legacy, Dr. Kumar announced, reviewing the genetic archives. They couldn't fight the Void Hunters directly. No single civilization could. But they could prepare the galaxy for this moment, ensure that when the Hunters returned, we would be ready. Throughout the solar system, humanity's inherited defenses shifted configuration. The quantum network pulsed with new protocols as ancient weapons platforms activated their true functions. What had appeared to be military installations were actually components of something far greater. Send a message to the Axian Admiral, Elena ordered. Tell them everything. Show them why we need to work together. The quantum network transmitted the full truth to the Axian fleet. The Terrans hadn't just been an advanced civilization. They had been guardians, holding back the Void Hunters from consuming the galaxy. But they had discovered that direct resistance was futile. The Hunters were drawn to concentrated power, to unified civilizations that stood against them. So the Terrans had developed a different strategy. They had hidden their power, scattered their technology throughout the galaxy in various forms. Earth wasn't the only world where they had seeded their legacy. There were others, each preparing in their own way for this moment. The defense network, Marcus realized, studying the activated systems. It's not just weapons. It's a key, part of something bigger. Elena nodded. Transmit to all Earth governments and the Axian fleet. The time for secrets is over. We need to implement the final protocol. Through the quantum network, humanity shared their knowledge with their former adversaries. The Terrans had known the Void Hunters would return, drawn by the galaxy's growing civilizations. But instead of building weapons to fight them, they had created something far more subtle. The defense installations throughout the solar system began to move, linking together in impossible geometries. Similar transformations were happening across the galaxy as other hidden legacies awakened. The Terrans hadn't just prepared Earth, they had prepared the entire galaxy. It's a dimensional lock, Elena explained as the ancient systems aligned. Our ancestors discovered that the Void Hunters could be trapped, sealed away in a space between realities. But it required something they didn't have. Diversity. Different species, different ways of thinking, all working together. The Axian Admiral's response came quickly. You need us. All of us. That's why your ancestors didn't simply preserve their civilization. They needed multiple civilizations, multiple approaches. Exactly, Elena confirmed. The Terrans could have dominated the galaxy, forced everyone to follow their path. Instead, they chose to step back, to let other species develop their own technologies, their own solutions, because only through that diversity could we create a defense that the Void Hunters couldn't adapt to. The dimensional breaches grew larger, the dark shapes within them becoming more distinct. Through the quantum network, Elena felt the awakening of other Terran legacies across the galaxy. Each civilization that had been touched by the Terrans was discovering their own piece of the puzzle. All Earth defense systems aligned, Amara reported. Quantum network at full power. We're receiving confirmation from other legacy sites across the galaxy. Elena turned to the Axion fleet. Admiral, we need your help. Your technology, different from ours, is crucial to the dimensional lock. Will you stand with us? The response was immediate. The Axion Federation stands ready. Command us. Throughout the solar system, Terran and Axion technology began working in concert. The dimensional lock took shape, a lattice of quantum fields and conventional forces, of ancient wisdom and new innovations. Other civilizations across the galaxy added their own contributions, creating a defense that transcended any single approach. The Void Hunters emerged fully into normal space, their impossible forms distorting reality around them. But they found something they had never encountered before. A galaxy united not through force or dominance, but through diversity. A defense that drew strength from differences rather than similarities. Dimensional lock at full power, Marcus announced. All systems synchronized. Elena gave the final command. Throughout the galaxy, the combined power of countless civilizations activated at once. The Void Hunters found themselves caught in a web of contradictory forces, trapped between realities by the very diversity they had sought to consume. The battle was brief but decisive. The Hunters, unable to adapt to the multiple layers of defense, were forced back into their dimension. The combined technologies of the galaxy's civilizations sealed the breaches behind them, creating a barrier they could never break through. As the quantum network confirmed their victory, Elena turned to the Axion fleet. This was our ancestors' true legacy, she explained. Not the technology, not the power, but the understanding that our differences are our strength. They could have ruled the galaxy, but they chose to protect it instead. The Admiral's response was thoughtful. We sought to control emerging civilizations, to force them to develop along approved paths. We thought we were protecting the galaxy. Instead, we nearly destroyed its best defense. Throughout the solar system, the defense networks began to power down, returning to their dormant state. But the knowledge, the connections formed between civilizations, remained. Humanity had reclaimed its inheritance, but more importantly, they had helped the galaxy understand its true strength. Send a message to all Earth governments and our new allies, Elena instructed. The immediate threat is contained, but our work is just beginning. The Terrans prepared us for this moment, but what we do next is up to us. As the Axion fleet prepared to depart, not as conquerors but as allies, Elena felt the weight of humanity's new role settling upon her. They were no longer just inheritors of the Terran legacy. They were its culmination, proof that different species, different approaches, could work together to face any threat. The quantum network hummed with possibilities as humanity looked to the stars with new understanding. Their ancestors had given them more than just technology and power. They had given them a purpose. Now it was up to them to prove worthy of that trust, to be the guardians their ancestors had prepared them to become. The legacy of the stars was not one of dominance, but of protection, and humanity was ready to take up that mantle, not alone, but as part of something greater than themselves.